Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
So yes, today I'm actually going to be talking about the brand new addition to the Star Wars film library, and that of course is the first of a series of anthology films that the Walt Disney Company is giving us, which is films that take place within the Star Wars film universe, but are not considered parts of the actual Star Wars saga. And of course, it all starts off with Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which is the story of those famous rebels that are mentioned in the opening scrolling of the very first Star Wars movie. Remember that band of rebels that had their very first victory against the Empire and got the plans to give to Princess Leia for the Death Star? Well, that's the story of this band of rebels and how they actually obtained the plans. I didn't really go into this film with high expectations, especially after seeing Star Wars The Force Awakens. While I did enjoy that film, it really wasn't the greatest movie that I ever saw. But I have to admit that this movie really surprised me. And one of the things that I love the most about this brand new Star Wars film is the fact that, as my good friend Ash from the Captain Vitus show said, this movie really focuses on that war that title Star Wars keeps telling us about. And that's what this movie felt like. It felt like not necessarily a Star Wars movie, although it had some great elements of Star Wars in it, but this really was a war movie. You saw casualties, you saw bombings, you saw squadrons of fighters battling each other in various different landscapes, you saw strategic planning, you saw spying, everything that you normally would see in a war film. Just in this case, it's just in the Star Wars universe, and I thought that it was very well executed. And of course, the driving force in regards to that perfect execution is the cast of characters. We have Jyn Erso, who is played beautifully by Felicity Jones, an actress who I have really been enjoying watching. We also have Diego Luna as Captain Cassian. We also have Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. Ben Mendelsohn as the Imperial Officer Krennic. We even have Darth Vader showing up a little bit in this movie, and of course we got James Earl Jones back to voice this guy. And let me just say, even though he doesn't appear in the movie as much as most people would have liked, you do get a lot of awesome stuff from him. There's also tons of nods to all of the great Star Wars movies that came before this. You will see everything from lines, from character appearances, and so many other things that make Star Wars such a memorable franchise. There's also an amazing score done by Michael Giacchino. He definitely gave me not a memorable soundtrack, but a soundtrack that really did drive the film. And of course, probably the biggest driving force of the film was Alan Tudyk voicing K2SO. He pretty much was a C-3PO with attitude, as well as a droid that actually wanted to fight alongside his fellow rebels. There also is some amazing special effects work, especially when you take a look at the last 30 minutes of the film. It is just so beautifully done. All of those things that you see in the trailers, it flows well, it's paced well, and everything just works beautifully within it. And there's also a great combination of practical and CGI special effects. So many, in fact, that even Peter Cushing would be very, very proud. But there are a couple of things that I would say that prevents this movie from being truly perfect. Even though there's so many great things to say about this movie, there is still a couple of things that I felt that it lacked. I think that the pacing could have been a little bit better. I was actually talking to one of my friends earlier today, and he said that you could have removed about 30 minutes from this movie and it still would have been just as good as it was. And yeah, I will admit that there are some moments of the movie that do feel a little bit slow, and you kind of do want the pace to be picked back up. So yeah, that could be something that could be a little bit of a fault. A lot of people say that the character development was really not there, and that the characters really lacked the likability that we wanted to see in so many Star Wars characters. Now granted, I would say my own specific thing about them, but if I did, it would really give away what the movie is all about and what will happen to the characters. But what I am going to say is I feel that the character development that we got was just enough, especially for what this movie needed and what this movie planned to be. And for me personally, I will give my own specific gripe. I was kind of upset over the fact that we didn't see any characters from Star Wars Rebels, although there are apparently some moments in the film where some of the characters from Star Wars Rebels are mentioned, and apparently I didn't see him. I will probably have to rewatch this movie, but apparently Chopper Chopper does make an appearance in the background, but again, I didn't see him, so I really wouldn't know. Like any Star Wars movie, this is a movie that you must see on the big screen. The grand scale and the action sequences are just so incredible to watch on the big screen. Is this a movie that I want to see again? Yes, I'm actually very happy that I've seen this movie. I think that it is actually one of the better Star Wars movies that I've seen. I will probably be putting it into my top 3 of all Star Wars films now. And is this a movie that I want to own on DVD? Absolutely. I think that this is a great installment. I really am now more excited to see what Episode 8 will bring next year, and more importantly, what some of the other Star Wars anthology films will be as well. I know that as of now, the next one is going to be all about Han Solo, and I'm very curious to see how that will end up. But for now, what I am going to say is Rogue One: A Star Wars Story gets 3 out of 4 from me. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below, and let's have a conversation about Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, and I will see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.